And now it's time to introduce our next presenter on the Cloud Megacast. So I'd like to now welcome William Bell, who's the Vice President of Products at phoenixNAP. And I understand that he's joined by Mr. Sam Fisher of Veeam. William and Sam, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Sam Fisher, and I'm the National Manager for our Veeam Cloud and Service Provider program. And it is my pleasure today to introduce our speakers for the sessions. And the presenter is William Bell. He is the Senior Vice President of Products and Solutions for phoenixNAP. And phoenixNAP is one of our top platinum partners for Veeam software, longtime Veeam partner, always big, strong advocates for the Veeam solutions. Also joining us today is Stuparits, who is a Veeam system engineer that will be here to assist with any technical questions. So with that, William, let me turn it to you.
Thank you very much, Sam, for that, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully what you've gotten so far out of the presentation has been useful, and I promise that I will not bore you guys to death, and we'll keep it fun and engaging, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit about phoenixNAP as well as Veeam software and the cloud solutions that we partner on together. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about building a comprehensive availability plan for your business. And we're going to touch on a few points, and obviously we're going to hit on some highlights of different Veeam solutions and phoenixNAP solutions that can help power some of these next generation comprehensive availability plans. For those of you who are not aware of who we are, phoenixNAP is a global IT infrastructure as a service company that started in Phoenix, Arizona in 2009. We've grown now to 6 locations across the globe, and we're providing enterprise-class disaster recovery services and enterprise cloud services for our customers in over 180 countries in the world. So, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk a little bit about addressing the DR needs that your company has, try to understand what you guys have in your environment today that can help, and then talk about a few Veeam-powered cloud services that you may not be aware of that can help your business achieve this next level of availability. So when you're looking at your environment and you're trying to assess what could happen to my business tomorrow, what do I need to prepare and protect my business from? I'm assuming that most of the people on the call are either IT leaders or business leaders, and you're thinking about these things every single day. I know that disaster recovery and offsite backup have become really hot topics in the industry, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how we see some of those things playing into a truly comprehensive availability plan that you must build for your business. And so I try to get every client that we have to start with looking at the assets that they have in their environment and truly coming to an understanding of what is important to your business every single day. What can you not afford to be without, and how long can you afford to be without it before it is critical or your business is in a critical place? And those key components, understanding what you have and understanding the criticality of those things, are the linchpin of building a truly comprehensive availability plan and choosing services that make sense to augment with your business and get this kind of off-site protection or next-level disaster recovery service. You have to look at the things that make most sense that are risks for your business, starting with prioritizing those risks after you've identified those assets and criticalities. Understanding what you're protecting yourself from is so important to understanding how to protect yourself from it. And a lot of people, it sounds simple and rudimentary, but a lot of people fail mightily at just getting through some of those common first steps and then trying to understand how likely is it that this is going to happen to my business, because that should govern how much you're going to spend on that problem. When you're looking at the recovery objectives that you're trying to solve, and you've spent some time building up some awareness inside your environment about the different things that you need to protect, and you go looking for a solution, some people forget about things that may be, good enough for their business and try to just go get that thing that they heard about from their friend. Go out and get that shiny disaster recovery as a service, or buy all this infrastructure and put it in another location and do it yourself. And they forget to ask themselves, what can I do to address these problems in the most cost-effective manner possible? And really and truly, as I mentioned earlier, can I put a financial loss figure around the problem that I'm trying to solve so I know exactly how much I should spend to protect that critical asset or that information? And so, like I said earlier, it sounds very simple on the surface, but I'm certain that the people on the call struggle with this every day. How much am I going to spend to solve this problem? How much, how important are these assets that I have, and what should I be doing to protect them right now? And what maybe should I be doing to protect other assets and things later, or at a different or lower tier than what I have for my mission-critical components? And so we've been working with Veeam software for the last 3 years to build some truly next-generation offsite backup and disaster recovery tools that can help you while building your truly comprehensive availability plan. We started our relationship with Veeam many years ago, but in the cloud services space, we worked with them to pilot and build a technology that they call Veeam Cloud Connect Backup. And for those of you that have Veeam software today, the best part about this component and this feature is that it is ingrained and built in to the software that you are using right now. Every version since 8.0 of Veeam software has had this capability built in. And from a Veeam perspective, it costs you nothing more to use it, right? It's just included in the standard license and above that you purchase from them. And so what we've got now is we've got this kind of next generation level of offsite backup and protection, because you're able to take those virtual machines and that critical data that you've assigned, and now physical machines with the launch of the agent most recently, and protect that infrastructure and those assets the same way that you would on premises, but with them being stored in the cloud. So think about being able to take that virtual machine, get no VPN infrastructure set up, nothing that you have to do other than open a port so outbound communication can happen, and stick that copy of your backup, your VMDKs, in a cloud service powered by phoenixNAP, and access a single file on demand from 30 days ago and pull it back to your environment and restore it the same way you would if you had it sitting inside your office. And the ability to do that completely pay as you go, right? If you want to have absolute flexibility and truly, pay for what you use and not use it tomorrow, those options are available not only from phoenixNAP but other providers in the Veeam software cloud services ecosystem. And then we've got the place that everyone wants to bring their business to. Everyone wants to bring their business to the promised land, which is a truly automated replication and failover capability. Some of you are looking at solutions and ways to do that yourself, and Veeam builds some great software that will allow you to do that is storage agnostic. But if you're looking to consume a destination infrastructure service and get help in building these solutions for your enterprise, companies like ours can really be an asset for these types of projects. You can come and work with our teams and design a solution that meets the needs. And the ability to take the components that are most mission critical, replicate those and get a real, sub 4 hour recovery time objective SLA for those mission critical components, and then have all of your offsite backups that may be able to be restored in, say, 24 hours for those less critical applications, all with one piece of software and one service provider, and infrastructure that can support even the largest environments. That's the key. There's a lot of services out there that'll provide you a small stand-up environment where you can boot a few things and have a few components that are truly critical, the absolute must-haves up in your environment. But what about all the rest of the infrastructure? What if you lose it, right? The ability to take a multi-hundred terabyte or even multi-petabyte environment and have that backup and running in a cloud service in a few days for the least critical things and a few minutes for the most critical things is essential to protecting your business. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but we're so excited about the Veeam availability agents that have been launched. One of the things that Veeam software, and I'm going to ask my friend Stu to talk a little bit about it, one of the things that Veeam software has, people have kind of knocked on them in the past about is that they only address the VM. Hyper-V or VMware virtual machines, and that's just not good enough today. In this multi-cloud world, with the disparate infrastructures that we have, you have to be able to address the data in any way possible. And for a lot of you, that still means a physical server. And so I've listed a couple capabilities here, but I'd like Stu to take just a moment and talk about the agent and what's exciting and maybe what's to come around that. Stu? I think potentially they left Stu in the lobby, so I'm going to cover it for him. So from an agent perspective, they've recently launched a Windows and Linux agent. It's covering kind of your 95% of operating systems today with your standard CentOS, RHEL, Ubuntu, and Windows Server 2008, 2016. But the best part about this is you can protect cloud infrastructure the same way that you would a physical server with this agent. And you can back that data up to the same repository that you run your infrastructure from today, where you have with us, say, an offsite backup repository in the cloud. You can send that data from Amazon or from Azure directly to that offsite backup repository and manage and perform test restorations and all those things the same way that you would with your environment that you have today if you're a Veeam software customer or if you've looked at Veeam software in the past. The last thing from a technology perspective that I want to touch on that's super exciting is Veeam's about to launch a piece of software called the Veeam Availability Console. And it's going to be the first truly global multi-cloud agent, non-agent console for managing your backups. And service providers like phoenixNAP are going to be making this software available for you to use to help you get a better recovery mindset and a better availability plan and tools in place for your business. And it has so many different capabilities. It's great, beautiful to use HTML5 interface, and all of the things that you do today or you've heard about or you've tested if you're not using Veeam software, all those capabilities that you have in the Veeam backup server are going to be extended into this console over time to give you this web-based interface that you can access wherever you need with whatever security control you want from a service provider like phoenixNAP, and manage that environment on the go, kind of for your on-the-run IT guy. So I'm going to try to wrap some of this up, and I wanted to make sure that we addressed some of the things that we talked about at the beginning. There are a few basic steps that you can perform to truly begin to build an availability plan that makes sense for your business. It is essential that you, if you're not in a business role, stay true to what the business wants from a recovery objective. That means the recovery point objective, the recovery time objective, how much data are you going to lose, how much or how quickly can you get back up and running? All of those things are important to understand from the business through the exercises that we addressed at the beginning, and not just made up on the fly as you go, because that will cause you to massively overspend on the problem. And finally, work with somebody like phoenixNAP and look at your environment. We have some free assessments that are available. We'll sit down with you and talk a little bit about what you're trying to achieve and find a solution that makes sense for your business. You know, we've spent a lot of time on Veeam today and the partnership that's so immense between our companies, but there are so many different ways to achieve a true high availability in this world. And phoenixNAP has built a robust IT infrastructure platform across the globe that makes that really easy to put the building blocks in place and allow you to reach the recovery objectives that you are trying to achieve. And I'm going to wrap this up with the special promotion that we've worked with Veeam to put together as part of this. Any Veeam customer worldwide right now can get $1,500 in free Veeam Cloud services from phoenixNAP by just going to veeam.com, registering for the free Veeam Cloud services coupon, bringing it to us, and if you like the solution and you're ready to move forward with a 1-year contract, we'll credit your account with $1,500. Everything can be proof of concept and trialed and evaluated prior to this. But I think if you're looking at solutions like this today, it's important that you know that there's an availability or there's a promotion available that will allow you to go in there and grab a couple extra $1,000 for your business. And with that, if there's any questions, I will take them.
Yeah, William, we do have a few questions here for you. So the first one that came in is, can you kind of walk through the process of what phoenixNAP does to work with a company for disaster recovery? How do you help them select the right solution?
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I spent a lot of time talking about Veeam software, but we've built a truly multifaceted disaster recovery consulting practice where we can actually come in, work with a business, help them identify the technical assets that they're trying to protect, some of those critical components of their business that they may have not have thought about through the experiences that we've gained with other customers, and find different ways to protect that infrastructure. And I think that's the super important thing to mention again, is that not every piece of infrastructure, every asset needs to be protected the same way. And as much as everybody would love to see a truly active 1-second failover for the whole environment, and everyone's back up and running, that would be great. But that's a very expensive way to go about things, right? And unless the business is ready to spend that type of money to protect that infrastructure, it's overboard. So we help them piece out the infrastructure that's mission critical. We find a recovery point, recovery time objective that makes sense for that infrastructure, and we put the right solution in place. Maybe that's Veeam, maybe it's one of the other vendors that was on the call today. And we find the right solution for the customer, and we kind of surround all that with infrastructure that can be used to accompany the pieces that we may not be able to help with, right? So if you've got all kinds of infrastructure you've already purchased, maybe you need to take that investment you made in some other offsite backup replication array and place it in co-location, right? And that's the core of what we do as a business, in helping companies get as little or as much help and service level as they need from us worldwide.
Excellent. Well, I think that's all the questions we have, but thanks so much for being on today, William.
Perfect. Thank you guys very much, and have a great one.